Let's go into real quick. Obviously, starting your own business. How is that going for you?
It's okay. You know how the bunch of sayings that everybody talks about. Oh, you get to make your own hours. You get a lot more money and stuff. More money, more problems, more time on your hands to do. It's more or less like, yeah, you get to make your own hours, but what you don't realize is that you have to pretty much most of your hours are being spent on the business no matter what. So you go from like a nice cushy W-2 with biweekly paychecks and a consistent like work time going from 9 to 5 to you're putting out any and every single fire. You could be making money this month. You could not be making money for 3 months. You have to be really good on just being on your game and just putting out output. And you have to be smart about it. You can't be stupid about your business where you treat it like it's a job. You have to treat it like it's an asset, which is it's different. You don't get it's until like you've built out a business where you have employees in until you realize, it's more like you're treating it like an asset rather than another job that you get to have more fun with. It's just it's very difficult. A lot of people really don't share that information or like the downsides of having a business. But I went the route of a business because A, I'm stubborn as all hell. B, I knew I've always kind of wanted to go down that route. Like I knew I wanted to be engineering. I knew I wanted to have my own business doing something. And my view on it is, okay, if my business becomes successful, great, fantastic. If it doesn't, I've started it early. I have the experience. And so if I do go W-2 again, my resume looks fairly impressive.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
backups in that sense. But yeah.
Johnny, would you ever recommend to anybody to start their own business?
No.
No, I do. Although I do feel like when it comes to technicians, I feel like after you get your experience, you should go start your own business. And then after you've done that, and if you decide that you're good and if you're good at it, good for you. If not, come back or go back to being a W-2. You're going to have a whole lot different respect for the business that you work for.
Right. Yeah. Because once you get that other view of it, like you start understanding why things are costing the way they are, and you need to also then look out for your employer.
Yep.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So would you say? I mean, like, look, you need to find. You got to set up vendors. You've got to set up customers. You've got to website. Got to build that. All these connections. Oh yeah. We'll show.
No.
We'll do a little show and tell here, and then what about your accounting software? So you've got to have some type of AP, well, accounting software for making invoices. Maybe you just do those off Excel at first. Works out great for a little while, and then you gotta upgrade and go from there. And then at some point you got to get a payroll software as well. Anyway, so all of that being said, and kind of like manage the budget and everything else, what would you, out of the two of you, is there one that you were kind of surprised with, or how complex it was, or one that you were
taxes and documenting every purchase and invoice and sales like that, because you need to keep a tight book. Always got to keep a tight book. And like when you go into this field or you go into wanting to start a business, what you seldom realize is that most of your business, most of your daily tasks that you're doing is not what you planned to be doing to start out with. We're in the business of providing automation solutions, like systems. but rarely does it feel like we are ever doing those systems. It's more or
Right.
less you're calling customers, you're balancing books, you're calling their invoicing, making sure that the checks get through. You're balancing project hours to, okay, this employee needs to be doing that, or this contractor has to be doing this sort of stuff. You got to make sure that your documentation is there, and that when you write out the scope of work, that you're not overworking or you're underworking for your customers, and nobody gets pissed off, and you're managing every other little aspect to it. If you love controlling, most controls engineers, hence the name, don't mind that sort of stuff, but you need to be prepared for it. You're going to be doing everything, whether you like it or not.
I would say that if you start your own business and you're a controls guy, get used to not doing controls at all.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I'm now the dumb guy in the room because I haven't programmed in 7 years now. It'll be probably 8 here pretty soon. But all I do is push paper. Well, actually, it's digital form now. But yeah, I don't get the option of doing any coding. So if you like coding, this isn't for you.
Yeah. If you love doing the work that you're doing with controls and stuff, stay that way. Because if you want to open up your own business doing this sort of stuff, I want to say you're going to be cutting that down at least by half. That amount of work, at least by half. So you're never going to be as on top of your game as you used to be. Like as fast as you typically were on the keyboard for moving and navigating around the software, like with Studio 5000, you're going to quickly forget how to do the combinations for uploading the program real quick. But yeah, and yeah, I don't know. That's kind of all I got on that.
Johnny, what about you? What were you kind of surprised by when you started? What do you think that was the hardest part?
Making that change from being a technician to being an owner. That was the hardest one.
Investing,
yeah,
allowing the people that you hire to do the job instead of getting in the middle of it.
Yeah. See, that was something I'll soon run into. Right now, I have kind of like the whole choice on doing this sort of work, but I have the entire workload to do. So there's only so many projects I can handle all at once, and I know eventually I'm going to have that give off to another employee, and that's another thing too. Building out the business with just one person, you're asking for a lot of work. If you do it with a partner, at least one can do the work while the other does the business side of things. So you can build out a pretty good reputation, and you can also then look for, you build up enough projects, you build up enough capital where you can bring more employees on. If you're the only one bringing the money in, running the business, and then now you need to bring somebody else on that needs to learn your business. Now you have to teach them, invest a lot of time into them. You just run out of resources real quick. So for me specifically, trying to find somebody that is also in this realm that wants to do it, that hopefully has experience and wants to go into this work with me, rare. I don't think I'll find very rare for me to for trying to find that specific person.
Right. And you, so I did choose the route of doing it with a partner, and he was gifted with the programming. And then Johnny, you did the kind of the same, but he's not a programmer, correct? He's more of a business, and so you're the programmer.
Yeah, I'm all the technical side of it.
Yeah, you got to be prepared to be, and it was kind of funny because as soon as we, this was a long time ago, probably 8 years ago when we started, we started our company, and we walked out of that lawyer's office after everything was signed and done, and we looked at each other going, and then that was a point in time where gay marriage was not illegal, and we looked at each other. and said, "It kind of feels like we just got married, Peter." And he kind of looks at me. He goes, "We kind of it did feel like we got married." And he just goes, "Do you want some sushi?" I go, "Yeah, I want some sushi." it, and man, I cannot. It's ever since then. It has always felt like a marriage.
Oh, it
And
is.
Johnny can test to this.
Oh yeah, it
It
is.
Are you guys both married?
I'm divorced.
Oh, but I mean, okay. So you guys both know what marriage is like. So totally different scope for me. Maybe that's why I haven't gotten any employees yet because I haven't gone through that route. Haven't.
Yeah, I know that I mean I can easily say that me and Peter have gotten red in the face and we've lost our minds in front of each other. So we've had to have we probably should have hired some type of counseling service for just the two of us. But yeah, it gets nasty. But I think the biggest thing, the foundational problem, the foundation that I need in another person or another business partner would be is that can they admit fault? Because I need to work off that, and then can I trust them?
Hmm.
Man, those two alone, that works really, really well. Everything else I could work off of, but that foundation has to be there. And once I learned that my business partner wasn't going to steal from me, I mean, he has access and he has had access to the same bank accounts. And you would think that something, and the answer is no, nothing. So anyway, but that's my take on it.
That does speak a lot to what I've also been kind of looking at. Where I have a best friend that also he's done his own ventures, and we both are aligned in that specific way. And I'm way more inclined to talk with him about business sort of things or getting him involved with it, even though he doesn't have the type of experience I have.
Right.
Nobody else has that foundation. Nobody else does. So it's, he's a good person for me to be picking out. I don't want to say, but it's very rare to find that. You really do need to cultivate it. No very easy ways to cultivate that type of relationship, aside from going through the thick of it.
Right. Right. All right. We have to probably call it here pretty soon, but at some point in time we'll have to have this MES conversation. Anything else you guys would like to talk about? Here, let's real quick. Let's talk about our websites. So,
No.
Brian, you have your own website.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look. So, it's a work in progress.
It is most
Is what
definitely a work in progress.
I will say this: they can find you on the web. You've got your contact right there and your email right there. You're ahead of the game. You'll be surprised in how many other fields there are that don't even have this set up. So,
Hey, it's a start, and that's one other thing about our industry too is that it's more of you got to know the people. It's a network
right,
rather than
right,
it is appealing to the masses.
right.
Yeah.
In fact, there's even a famous guy. I won't mention his name, whatever the case is, but he's very popular there on LinkedIn. And he doesn't even have a website.
Really?
Yep. So, and then Johnny.
Yep.
Now you had a website, but you pulled it down.
Yeah, I had I'd contracted a web person, and this while she was working on it, she put this up, and then she disappeared, and disappeared with money. And then I found another person who is in the process of getting something up right now. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Here's Go ahead.
I had nothing else.
Here's my take on it. So I first started on Weebly, which is just a quick, you can throw anything into it. And the reason for it was is that it was so easy to do, easy to build. Even I could, just drag and drop some stuff, whatever. So that was my first, but then pretty soon you find out that it's just it restricts you too much from what you can do. So then it's just like, okay, well then we're going to move this and migrate this over to Wix is what I'm using now. And of course, a lot more customization, a lot more features, whatever. And of course, now I get calls, into I can't remember what it was called. There was another popular web hosting, but regardless, what happens is that it seems like what they want you to do is keep on migrating, and the next person you find that does websites, they'll be like, no, I want you to migrate to something else, and no, I need you to migrate over there. So anyway, just realized, WordPress is what I was going to say. So there's a lot of WordPress. My only problem with it is that I wanted something that I could make changes to. Say it was something that I want to just quickly kind of go in and just add. I don't know how WordPress works, but it seems like it's a little bit more complex, and it'd be a little bit hard to kind of figure out. So anyway, I don't have that. I don't know if you got any advice out of that, but just realize that it's just going to be a long journey. That's all.
Yeah,
It's never going to end.
I did start off on doing WordPress actually with it. And I'm actually fairly technically inclined when it comes to web type services, and it goes two-handed with the more of it you do, the better you'll get at it. So I've done quite a bit of it, and I've gotten onto the realm of using cloud and applying those services, doing more of the back end things that will eventually become front end.
Right.
I mean, to start, you need to have the website present. If it's basic, good enough. And then you need to build out, like, eventually what you want it to become, and what other services out there could you leverage for building it. If I have any advice on what platform to go next with, I would definitely check out Odoo.
Okay.
I really do recommend Odoo, and I use Odoo for a lot of my ERP type functions and stuff like that. And this is actually an Odoo website. This is one of their modules with it. So it's like it's very similar to what was it called? We were just talking about it.
Oh, the WordPress.
WordPress. It's very similar to WordPress in that regard, but it's open source. Same with WordPress, but it's also more tightly integrated with your ERP, so you can do a lot more, like moving of data from the website to now your CRM modules and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I started out on my venture, because I knew Odoo was going to be like front and center part of my business. It's going to be a core part of it. So the website module, if anything, was just a good start. And then eventually I'll need to be building out more functionality off of that website, or either that or replacing it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think my only thing that I would want to add is that this happened to me. This was probably one of my mistakes that I did in the very beginning, is as we were actually adding services and adding products, I kept on adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. And eventually it became very labor intensive to support it, per se. So simplicity, kind of like actually what you have, is actually really would probably work for a lot of years. If somebody really wanted to see what you were working on, whatever the case is, the hope would be is they contact you and then you can do a presentation or have that conversation. But I went so far with one of the websites that it was actually too much information. That's all.
Yeah,
and I don't know the
investment onto spilling into.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I think maybe some of these actually have done some integrators have done a better job with just focusing on the post or some type of feed that they can kind of like update a little bit on the side. That's probably where I'm going to go.
So I think for me, I need to provide some resources for product selection. I want to say because informing the customer why two things: informing them why they want to go with me, be informing them on why they want specific features to their machines. Safety as a topic, I don't think we covered that topic yet, but that's one example.
Right.
And I think informing the customer on things like that, I think that's going to be a good start, or at least.
Right. Because if I was a customer, I would want to go to a web page and I want to quickly evaluate who you are. Uh, where are your strengths, where your weakness is, what is it? I mean, sometimes these websites are just like talking about digital transformation, blah blah blah, and they throw out a lot of, you know, GPT type wording, and I still don't know what you got, what you're good at and what you're not good at. So, and I want to quickly, within seconds on your front page, be able to kind of go, oh, he's a systems integrator, and this is his focus. So anyway, so
It needs a lot more. It needs a little more TLC. I will say on that.
well, actually, not bad. I mean, it's you got panel building. I mean, HMI. I mean, to me, this already tells me more than what I did. So, you know, anyway,